Do you believe in ghosts, Kostas?
Do you believe in ghost stories, Mrs. Turner? Because you're in one. Yeah, that was a Pirates quote.
I just thought it was an explanation of 2019.
I mean, it could be. But yeah, I don't actually think... It's not that I don't believe in ghosts. I just don't believe in something that I don't have proof that it exists, like actual proof. But I also don't believe in something not existing without having any proof that it doesn't exist.
Fair. So, we'll get back to that in just a second. But, so this is the second episode of the podcast. Generally, it's going to be just me, or maybe like me and someone externally outside of SmallestNerds. But...
Or me and Billy.
I was about to get there.
Yes.
Just it's okay. Or me and Kostas, if it's not one of those things. But yeah, so today is one of those me and Kostas doing me and Kostas things, except no video. So, you know, you miss it's all the glorious disaster, I don't know, yes, of B&K Cafe, except now you don't have to see our faces.
It's basically a more relaxing version, and we're not talking about news, we're just talking about stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah, so, you know, this is like kind of planned, you know, there's kind of like a plan around what we're talking about, but also like, given the nature of how me and Kostas communicate, we're probably gonna go off on a lot of tangents, so I guess just like enjoy the ride. But so, me and my girlfriend, like the other week, were talking about extremism, and extremism in like religion, in feminism, in veganism, just like extremists in movements in general, and like why those things might end up being like why the extremists are usually to the detriment of the movement and actually make the movement seem less rational and less reasonable than it actually is. Like for example, with religion, you have the
chair is making noise, Billy. They're not gonna enjoy it.
I like it sitting like leaning in the chair. Yeah, like so the if you have like things like religion, and you have the extremists that try to force religion down your throat. Same with veganism. And same with feminism. I think feminism English is good. I think feminism is amazing, and I think it's definitely something that should be, like, men and women should absolutely have equal rights. That's something I have stood by since I was a child. But the thing is, I feel like a lot of men see the feminist movement as this crazy, like, over the top, like, men should die kind of thing, because most feminists that are seen on like TV and media and stuff are the loudest people, are the ones with the most radical and sometimes insane ideas.
Yes, and news and general media want to show the most extreme stories because these are the stories that catch more attention and actually catch more attention from people, and people want to watch these stories. So that's what you watch generally on news, and that's what you see from many different kinds of movements. But these are not the people that actually care for the healthy, like, involvement of the movement.
Yeah, like, that's not the general consensus of the actual movement. Like, if you take the amount of people that exist in a movement, for example, feminism, there's the majority of them that are like 98% of them are like, okay, yeah, we just want equal rights to men, and we don't want to have, like, you know, shit be not great for us, and we don't want to and we don't want to be like oppressed or whatever. And we want equal rights, we want equal pay, we don't want to have like biases for like job competition, etc., etc., etc. But then there's like the 2% that's like, kill all men, we don't need them, men are pigs, die. And that's a bit like, or like, men should be serving at women's feet, and it's just like, that's a lot of excessiveness. But the thing is, those 2% are the ones that are going to get media coverage, because, you know, I feel like the feminism debate would be a lot less dramatic in terms of like, I feel like it'd be a lot easier to like get to that like equal rights that we all like, that we want. if there wasn't such, like, if the media covered, like, actual people and not the insane ones that are, like, threatening to murder men because they're men.
And also, in this podcast, we're going to talk about many different kinds of movements and religion. We're not attacking any of these movements, or we're not attacking religion. We're attacking the extremists of these movements, and we're trying to make people understand that being extreme about something and not caring about other people's feelings and beliefs is the bad thing. No movement is bad by itself. You just have to try to believe in a different...
I mean, the Flat Earth movement is pretty bad by itself. Doesn't matter how...
That's not a movement.
It's a movement.
No, it's not called a movement. It's called an idea and a belief.
No, it's a movement.
No, because a movement has some specific requirements for it to be a movement. Flat Earthers don't have a movement. Flat Earthers have a belief.
But the belief is pushed in such a way that it is also a movement.
Yes, it could be. We can go on a whole debate about this, but let's continue on what we actually want to talk about.
Also, we have time. Don't worry about staying on track the entire time. There's no point. But so I also though, on a side note, like, we are going to be stating our beliefs on these topics, whether it be religion, whether it be veganism, whether it be feminism, whether the earth is flat or round. And the thing is, like, if you have a different belief, if you believe something different, great. We're gonna respect that. If you think God exists, God doesn't exist. If you think the earth is flat, the earth is round, the earth is square. If you think we live in a parallel dimension from The Simpsons, I don't know. Something, whatever it is.
Parallel dimension of The Simpsons.
If you think animals should be murdered in the streets, or if you think animals should be sacredly worshipped.
No, that's kind of a different point. Yes.
I'm not saying that as like the actual standpoints. I'm just using the most of extreme of arguments ever to get my point across here. Of, doesn't matter what your belief is, we're going to be stating our beliefs. If you want to make a podcast to respond to our podcast, great. But that's just going to be it. Like, there's no reason to get offended by what we're saying, because we're just a couple dudes in a room talking. And I think we're going to try to be as nice about things as possible. But also, if you get offended, don't, try not to get offended, because we're just putting out opinions. We're not scientists. We're not specialists of any sort, but we're just people with thoughts and brains. And
so,
I think... and I think it's very important to be able to handle having a conversation about things, Like, because nowadays, 2018, 2019, everyone's so sensitive, and that's not a good thing, because if you can't discuss things, whether it be issues, topics, whatever, nothing happens, nothing changes. So, just keep that in mind, and, like, don't get too mad. If you get too mad, then just, like, if you're prone to being just, like, super offended by things, probably best you don't stick around. But otherwise, welcome and we love you.
So, we're gonna start talking about feminism and some points about feminism.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move on to vegans and vegetarians, especially vegans.
We're not gonna have a schedule. Come on, man.
I'm telling like some things that we might talk about, like feminism, vegans, religion, general stuff and movements that people have been and will be and are being extreme on, and just giving some examples on these points.
I guess.
Like, Billy might continue talking about other stuff like always, but this was the main starting point of the podcast, and we're gonna try to keep going back to that.
Actually, what happened was we had an entire podcast recorded, but the microphone was backwards, which we didn't realize, so the recording came out horrible, and so we lost 30 minutes worth of recorded stuff, which kind of sucks, and it's kind of super annoying, but it's okay. But yeah, so we're just going to, we're gonna pretty much just talk on the same vein that we were talking about before, but probably with more tangents now, because, well, that's what I do.
Also, going back to feminism, because I want to say something about it. Billy said about something about women want to be equal or having equal rights with men. A certain belief that some people, I think, kind of make mistakes on, or don't consider its actual meaning, is that being equal and having equal rights is something kind of different, because having equal rights is something achievable. Being equal isn't so much achievable because we're all different people. We're not equal, but we can have equal rights. We're born genetically different, and being a woman and being a man has its upsides and its downsides. Men and women have good things and bad things. They have their ups and downs. Women are better at some things and men are better in some other things. So basically, the end goal of feminism isn't to be equal in that way, it's to have equal rights and have equal opportunities for women and men. And not only women and men, I think every person around Earth should have equal rights and opportunities. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah, like, unless you are a really shitty person, in which case you probably shouldn't. But whatever. I mean, look, man. Like, pedophiles exist. And so do rapists and murderers. So,
yes.
Like, maybe they should...
No, wait. Even on pedophiles, there's some difference between the... I think there are two different terms. There's pedophile and something else.
Sexual predator?
No, there's actually doing it and just having the idea in your mind. Because having the idea in your mind is something that some people actually have from birth.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, the people who actually act on it.
Yes, but like... So, the people that have it in their minds, it's so fetishized and so badly viewed on that they don't actually come out for help.
Well, yeah.
So it's kind of like you shouldn't like say it like that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like,
this is so serious. Why are we why is this such a serious conversation?
I mean, we're talking about some like really serious and important matters that can be fun, but sometimes can be serious as well.
Well, anyways, everyone should have equal opportunities, equal rights. Everyone should be allowed to do what they want, kiss who they want, eat what they want. Pretty much, I think everyone should just be allowed to have their stuff as long as it's not hurting other people. Like, there's no, like, you know... With veganism, for example, like, I understand the movement, and I understand why the movement is, but also, and I don't think, there's that whole thing about vegans being annoying. I don't think vegans are annoying. I think the vegans that are annoying, because, I mean, I know vegans that are like, yeah, I'm just vegan, and that's it. Like, I'm not gonna... like be mad at you for eating meat, but like we can talk about why this or that, and like you can have a discussion about it, and that's cool, that's awesome. But like, yeah, I think personally veganism it's an okay trend, or not a trend, but like it's an okay idea. It's a good thing to follow, I guess, if you want to live your life like that. But also, I don't think that there's an argument to be made for not eating meat. There's definitely an argument to be made for treating animals better, like while we have them in captivity. Like while the animals that we raise to eat, they should definitely be treated better. But the fact of the matter is, animals have been eating other animals in much more brutal ways since the beginning of time. Like, it's just a thing that happens. It's nature. And just because we are what we call civilized, I guess, like humans have to be humane, that doesn't mean that we can't kill animals, because that's what animals do, and we're animals. We have canines. Genetically,
like
we're designed
born,
to also eat meat.
We were born to be able to eat meat, so you shouldn't force yourself to go against your nature. You might think because you consider yourself civilized to try and not eat anything with actual living blood in its veins, but still, eating meat is something that genetically your body is made for. Well,
I mean, yeah. I mean, and also, like, if you're vegan because of, like, an empathy thing, where you're very sympathetic or empathetic towards animals and towards the fact that they're, like, getting tortured and mistreated, alright, that's fine. That's great. That's, like, the best reason to be vegan. And as long as you're getting your nutrients, your proteins, like, all these things from, like, your vitamins, etc., from like different sources, which there's a lot of sources for those things, great. But I don't think that it's fair for vegans to be like, oh yeah, like, we're better than you because we don't eat meat. which not every vegan is obviously, but like there's like the ones that'll usually like, you know, talk about being, you know, whatever. Those are usually like the ones that are like, oh yeah, like it seems like there's an air of condescension towards like eating meat. And I don't think that's okay, because it's not like, you know, it's not like they're better for not eating meat. It's like, great, you don't eat meat, and your reasoning is solid with, like, you know, sympathy and not wanting to kill animals and animals are mistreated. But that also doesn't mean that, like, you know, that also doesn't mean that the people who eat meat are wrong. It just means that we have a different opinion, and that we maybe don't have that level of empathy or sympathy towards it.
Yes.
Or that
also,
maybe that the problem is something different entirely, you know?
At least personally, I believe that the point that people are making is not only vegans, but other people as well, that animals are being treated in a really bad way while they're being grown to become food. Yes, that's a fair point. And we should improve on the way we treat animals, and we shouldn't like treat them like resources because they're living beings. We should treat them in a way that they live their lives nicely and not in like food farms, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
give them grass to graze on, give them like an area to be in, and just relax. And then when it's time for them to die, they will die.
And something that I learned recently, and it's something that I will try to never eat because I know the pain the animal has went through to become that kind of food. I learned recently how foie gras is made.
Foie gras?
Yes.
Isn't that like would they overfeed the chickens? So
yes.
that they get
No,
really,
not
really
chickens,
fat?
the ducks.
Or the ducks.
Okay, what happens is that they, and this is gonna get a bit descriptive, so they overfeed the ducks in the point that they hurt.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And they keep them locked until the liver is overgrown, which causes them extreme pain, and then just kill them like that.
Yeah.
So they live their whole lives in pain, being overfed, and their inside organs grown. So that's something that personally I wouldn't want to eat. Not because I don't like taste, but because I don't like the way they treated the animals to make it.
Foie gras is really good.
Yes, but because I know how it's made, I don't want to eat it.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean that's a good way of looking at it, I guess.
Like, I understand that foie gras is something people make to eat, but like treating an animal this way just to make something tasty, I think is something that shouldn't happen.
I'm sure there's other ways to do it too. Like,
there
has to be some other ways.
There must be some other way, but I think it must be more expensive to make than it actually
just make
is.
it more expensive, you know?
Yes. Also, yeah, basically that's my belief, that you should treat animals in a nice way. You can kill them to eat them, but like, think about it that way.
Kill them to eat them, not torture them.
Not torture them throughout their whole life to actually eat them just because it will cost less for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, think about how wild animals actually eat. Generally, they hunt down
the weakest, oldest, or
the oldest.
Sometimes it's just luck of the draw. Sometimes the gazelle will be just like chilling at the water, and the crocodile will be like, "Well,
sometimes,
that tastes
but
like
not
that,
always.
That smells like a nice meal."
Yes, but what generally happens is that the wild animals leave the smaller ones because they, in their instinct, they understand, they have an instinct that if they leave the smaller ones, they will become bigger and produce more animals. So they don't kill the smallest ones, they kill the eldest ones and the weakest ones.
Not always, though.
Not always. If an animal is really hungry,
it
will eat whatever it finds. If it's actually fed correctly, it will understand through its instincts that it shouldn't kill the young ones.
Yeah, agreed.
Generally. I'm not making a certain point, I'm talking about something general.
He's not making an assertion, he's making a generalization.
Yes. Moving on.
Moving on. On a much less serious topic, what is your opinion on, like, if ghosts were real?
Oh, we went back to that so quickly.
If ghosts were real, would you, because this, look, that, I love talking about stuff like this, very serious topics, like discussing religion is one of my favorite things to do, but also, like, I feel like a bit of lighthearted in between is not a bad idea.
Yes.
Or else it's gonna be just too much.
Yes, this is gonna be the what we say, the I got stuck. Okay, you were saying ghosts.
the buffer, the comedic relief.
Yes. Yes, comic relief, basically.
Sure. If ghosts were real, would you be willing to move into a house with one? If we had, like, connections with ghosts. Like,
Move into a house with a ghost.
like, if we found out ghosts were real and we found a way to, like, communicate with them or whatever,
Look.
would you be willing to, like, move in with a ghost inside your house? Like,
No,
you guys share the space.
wait. First of all, if there was a way to actually speak with ghosts, it would be really interesting at first.
Yeah.
But if I had a choice to move in with a ghost, then it would be the exact same thing as the choice with moving in with a person. Because if I don't like the ghost,
Yeah.
it's basically the way you're saying is like, oh, hey, it's more casual.
No, I mean in general, would you?
If I
'Cause
like
the thing
the
is,
ghost,
you guys don't necessarily share the same, let's say, like, space. It's
that's what I'm saying. If I like, yes, but I still have it in my house and I talk to it.
yeah. I mean, you don't
That's-
have
that-
to talk. You don't have to talk to it.
I mean, you have to.
You
Don't make the ghosts angry.
don't make the humans angry.
Yes.
If we know how they exist, I'm assuming we know how to kill them.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
I don't think ghosts can die.
Not die, but, like,
I think
get
ghosts
sent away to
yes,
whatever.
You can send away a ghost, but
Ghostbuster that shit.
yes, if it existed, because we're talking about
Hypothetical.
a what if scenario,
Hypothetical.
hypothetical scenario. Yeah. What if in like
What
quotes.
if this thing happened and this thing was real and things were real? What if anything was real? What if this wasn't all just one big lie where everything
We're in the
was
Matrix.
worth nothing and we all just... What if anything mattered? No, I'm totally
what if
kidding.
when you die you actually wake up?
What if when you die you are killed?
Beliefs, ideas.
People die when they're killed.
Oh wow. Okay. That's
man.
very brutal. No, it's not brutal. It's very like, oh hey, this is the end.
No, that's actually it's from an anime. I don't remember which one, but it's like a huge meme in like the anime or it was at least. I don't know if it still is, but in the anime community, it's a pretty big meme where like because sometimes the translations of the subs are just really bad, they don't make sense. Like there was one where it's like people die when they're killed, and there was another one is fun things are fun. And it's just very,
Wow.
yeah, it's the translations are just really bad, and so it just makes for like really, like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think ghosts are really closely tied to religion, aren't they? I mean, some depends
not
on how
necessarily.
people view it.
It's spiritualism.
Spiritual.
spiritualists.
There's a difference though, because like there are different spiritualists in different kinds of religions.
I'm saying under the cloud of spiritual belief is like religion and ghosts, because religion doesn't necessarily imply ghosts, and ghosts doesn't necessarily imply religion.
Yes, but
they
some
both
people
cover
connect them.
But they both cover under the umbrella of spirits.
Yes.
Because your eternal soul goes to heaven or hell, or your eternal soul is damned to haunt Lady Smith on 3rd Street while she makes apple pies at 3 a.m.
Interesting question. Is there any religion that doesn't believe in afterlife?
Fuck. I thought I knew about one.
Because I think the main point of religion, as it's been described to me in school specifically, is afterlife. Like one of the main reasons for people believing in a god or in something existing is that there may be something after death, and that's how they actually manage to manage the feelings or the depression of someone going away, of someone dying, that they think that, oh hey, there's something better for them after this life.
Yeah. The way I see religion, like whether or not God exists, it's not my problem. It's not my issue. If God exists and there's proof of it, awesome. I will go to church. If God doesn't exist and there's proof of it,
wait.
I will not go to church.
Wait.
First of all, let me finish.
Yes, continue.
What I'm saying is I really don't have like a set stance on religion. So what I'm saying is very objective and not based on any it's not based on any agenda of like whether or not I'm religious or whatever. So I'm very much like, I don't have an opinion. I have an opinion on it, but I am very open to like, if there turned out to be, evidence of God or of like the religious teachings being correct, if there are facts, I will take them into consideration and take them in because they are facts. It's like science. But so the way I see religion is assuming God doesn't exist. The base of religion is essentially being a good person, which is a very good thing. And then further on, I feel like it's also a crutch. Well, a crutch kind of sounds bad, but like a crutch in a good way. Like it's a help because psychologically, people aren't always like able to handle the fact of people dying. Can't really handle the fact of like, that people die when they are killed. So it helps when people are like, like my parents died or something, they're in a better place now. Or if a lot of things are going wrong in your life and you're like, oh, God has a plan for me, whatever. Like those things, they're really good. Even if religion is completely wrong, that, like, I'm not saying that it is, I'm saying it could be. And it also could be completely right, who knows. But I think religion, even if it were to be completely wrong, would still be a good thing to an extent. Obviously, religion has some really crappy things behind it. Like, burning people alive, war, terrorism, ? There's a lot of pretty bad things that come from religions. And of course, I'm, the majority of the time I've been talking more in terms of the Christian religion, because that's the one I'm most familiar with, but, all religions have, ups and downs, and, goods and bads, positives, negatives, extremists, which, again, if you guys didn't catch on from the earlier on in the podcast, also not good to be a religious extremist. Doesn't matter if you want to kill all men or kill all people that aren't of your religion. It's all still bad. Don't do that.
Even not going to that extreme, trying to force people into your religion is something else, in any way. Personally, my viewpoint of religion.
No. Also, it's different, because I was raised in, a very non-religious family in Texas. You were raised in Greece.
I was raised in a generally not that heavy religious family. Like, my family wouldn't force me to, be Christian. Like, they're not forcing me to believe in God.
Are you Christian?
It's kind of weird. Let me explain. So, I was raised in a family that my mother and my father both believe, in Christianity.
Yeah.
And the general population in Greece believes in Christianity. And my views are going to be based mostly on that when I talk about religion. So my point of view is it's kind of similar to what Billy said. If you think about it, especially on Christianity, the main point of religion is being a good person.
Yeah.
So, even if you think of, God might exist, God might not exist, I will still be a good person, and I will still try to be a good person. If God doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. I will help the rest of the people around me with being a good person. If God does exist, being a good person will help me to get in heaven. And I don't even, this is not my end goal. My end goal about, being a good person, you shouldn't do that because your end goal is to get in heaven. You should do that because you should be a good person and help the people around you.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason you're actually doing it.
Good people,
you're not searching for a reward when you're being good to other people.
Religious people aren't necessarily good, and non-religious people aren't necessarily bad.
Yes.
Because religious people can be horrible people, even if they're, even under the assumption that they'll go to heaven or hell. But as long as people think that they're justified in their... Essentially, being a good person should not matter about whether or not you're religious.
And personally, I believe that even if you don't go to church every day, even if you don't focus on one religion every day and the rest of your life go to church every Sunday, if God exists, God wouldn't ban you from heaven or think oh my God, you're doing a wrong thing for not going and praying to me or the angels or whatever. With being a good person, I think it's good enough. Even if God existed, I think by the way Christianity views God, I'm not talking about other religions because other religions might view him another way. I think that God would be okay with people just
believing.
not believing. I don't think he wants people to believe in him. Like, if God existed in the way Christianity views it, I think he would be okay with just people going on in their lives trying to be their best and helping the rest of humanity.
Yes, I think a lot of the requirements for being religious, especially Christian, I don't know much about the others, that's why I say especially Christian. I feel like a lot of the requirements, like going to church and like praying, confession, etc., 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 I feel like a lot of that is man-made for some sort of agenda. Like, there's some sort of agenda by the church, whoever, but I don't think I don't know how much of that should be a part of religion. Like, belief is belief. Church is something else.
Exactly. Church has a meaning, it has a point, but when political views and personal goals get in the way, the church becomes something else.
Yeah, then it's no longer religion. It's a business, essentially. Yeah, so that's religion. Always a fun topic. I love discussing religion. We're both a bit tired today, so we're not like but we'll just probably discuss it like more in depth and a bit more like whatever at another time.
Like, if you liked any of these topics, you can tell us in the comments. Like,
we're not done.
No, we're not done. But I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, all right, if you liked this, bye. I was like, no, I'm not done.
No, like, if you like any of these topics, just generally tell us in the comments or like send us messages on Instagram or whatever. You have our Instagrams there in the description every time. We're just discussing about stuff we like, and we would love suggestions as well.
Not all the podcast episodes are going to be this serious. This one is a fairly serious one, especially compared to the first podcast episode, which was pretty much just me babbling. The podcast is gonna be, I mean, if you guys enjoy it, fucking, that's awesome. But the podcast is gonna be like, it's gonna be, a lot of it is just gonna be me talking, because that's just, just me talking about stuff. Kostas probably won't be there too often, just because, like, I make the podcast, like, in the evenings in my house, in my room.
I mean, I might be there, because we have some pretty interesting topics to discuss.
I hope you are. I'd like you to be, like, ideally, I'd like the podcast to be the two of us, but, like...
We can try and do that. It's not that difficult, because it's just general rambling.
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, it's gonna be just, like, stuff that we want to talk about. It pretty much BNK, but unfiltered. Unfiltered and a lot longer.
Not actually updates and not news. It's just general discussion and interesting stuff we want to talk about.
It's pretty much what happens when we hang out. Like, this is just like us hanging out with you guys on microphone. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, like, let us know. It's gonna be on at some point, like, if enough people are watching this, maybe we'll, like, make an actual podcast on Spotify.
Yes, we could do
something. What might happen is, because we're probably going to make all of these things under one podcast, whether it's episodes with just me talking about stuff in my room or in my apartment, I mean, or Kostas and I talking about stuff, or whoever, like, whatever happens. It'll probably just all be under one podcast, because, well, there's no reason for us to have, like, 2 or 3 podcasts,
Yes.
I mean, maybe later on in life, if enough people are watching this, like, if enough people, like, enjoy it or whatever, maybe we'll make it like a Spotify thing. Like, maybe we'll actually have the podcast on, like, stuff to podcast.
It might work like that.
That'd be pretty sick.
Or we might have the podcast right here, and we might give you the option to download the file and take it with you somewhere to listen to it that way.
Yeah, also.
We can start like that.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about, like, later on, if it gets to that point. But yeah, so if you enjoyed it, like, like, subscribe, comment. This is a lot more, like, organic than the videos. Like, I feel like this is just kind of like how having a conversation with us is.
Yes, more close and personal.
Yeah, and also just, like, less editing. So if I say anything stupid or offensive, it's just gonna be there. And same with Kostas. So yeah. It's fun, though.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Same. But I only hope you enjoyed it if you actually enjoyed it. Because if you didn't enjoy it, then I don't hope you enjoyed it.
Oh damn, Billy, that's savage.
Dude, fucking bar. Dude, is this play? Cause bars, dude.
Exactly. Okay.
Like and subscribe and comment.
And
on
see
stuff.
you next time.